Have you gone into a sport before and you bought all its accessories and equipment just so you wanted to have everything, and then you realize that you've spent a lot of money on some stuff that's been useless, but you've also spent some money, quality money, on some useful items? Well, I'm Gilly from Tactical Edge Hobbies, and I want to talk to you about the 6 useful attachments that you can grab for your Gelblaster. Let's get at it. Okay, so coming in at number 6, guys, is the Sling. Now, the Sling is definitely a must-have when you're playing Gelsoft, okay? Why? Because it is very versatile. One, you want to obviously be carrying your Gelblaster when you're playing out in mil sims or even in the CQB, okay? And it helps obviously with the fatigue, because you're running around with some of these blasters with absolute kitted up with accessories, and it's weighing roughly about 3-4 kilos worth. Obviously your arms are going to get fatigued and tired, so a Sling comes very useful by just hanging your blaster like so. And if you're actually operating your Gelblaster on the field and you need to quickly move to your sidearm, you just quickly move the side, pull the sidearm out, off you go, okay? And you still got your primary right there. So slings are definitely a must-have when it comes to accessories. But let me show you what comes in at number 5. So in at number 5, you're gonna say it is obvious, okay? Definitely a useful item will be magazines, okay? Magazines are definitely a useful attachment. Now you're probably saying it's not really an attachment. Well, no, a standard magazine wouldn't be an attachment, but a drum magazine, guys, this is definitely useful, okay? If you're gonna be playing indoors or even mil sim, a drum magazine will hold way more capacity gels than what a standard magazine does. Standard magazine roughly holds about 100 to about 120 rounds. But the drum magazine can hold roughly about 200 to 300 rounds, which is absolutely imperative when it comes to you playing, so you're not having to change magazines constantly in a firefight, okay? So at least that way, you're having to, pump out a lot of gel balls onto your opponent. The only downside about a drum magazine is once you fill it up, when you're shooting, guys, make sure that you've got a little bit of support on that drum magazine, because the weight of the gels will actually pull that magazine down and the connections or the terminals won't connect together for it to shoot or feed consistently. That's the only downside about a drum magazine, but I still think this is definitely a useful attachment for your blaster. Now let's check out what number 4 is. Okay, so in at number 4 would be the tracer unit. The reason why I think that's an absolute useful attachment is because these things will definitely make sure that those people that don't like calling their hits will definitely call their hits. Because what a tracer unit does essentially is, if you use the glow-in-dark gel balls, the gel balls will travel through the tracer unit itself. As it travels through the actual tracer unit, a flash of UV will illuminate the coating of that glow-in-the-dark gel ball, so the gel ball glows in the dark. Once it hits that person, you can definitely identify who has been hit by the tracer gel ball. So these things are definitely great to have, so that way you can call out the cheats, and of course they're easily to install, because all you need is a blaster that has a reverse thread at the end, and you just literally slip it on and thread it on, and off you go. Plus it makes the blaster look aesthetically pleasing, which is absolutely awesome. But yeah, the tracer unit is definitely a must-have. Now the only con for the tracer unit is you got to make sure that your gel balls are definitely not super wet, okay? They need to be moist, but try to take out as much water as possible, because if there's water splashing inside the tracer unit, you will fizzle out the actual tracer unit. That's the only con I have. But apart from that, these tracer units are absolutely awesome to have on your blaster. Now let's go check out number 3. Okay, so coming in at number 3 is a controversial one. And the reason why, because some people actually think it's useless and some people find them useful. And I'm talking about sights, okay? Now sights can definitely be useful in my opinion, especially the magnifying ones. Why? Because they obviously magnify distance. Now the cool thing about them is that you'll be able to identify your opponent a little bit more clearly instead of using your naked eye. If you're like someone like me who is not the best at seeing, these do come in handy. But of course, the downside with these sights is that you won't be able to dial in the sights properly, okay? Meaning that if I'm aiming at a headshot, I most likely will probably get center mass or lower than center mass, which is a bit of a bummer. But they still do complete the look as well, which makes your blaster look real mean and badass. But the practical side of it is that at least you can still identify your opponent with the magnifying ones. So that's why I think sights are great to use compared to the iron sights. So that's why I'm having them down as number 3. Okay, so in at number 2, as you already saw, are the Hopups, okay? Hopups are definitely useful, without a shadow of a doubt. Some people say this should be your number 1, okay? But yeah, Hopups are definitely useful. Reason why is because these Hopups, what they essentially do is that they give you more distance and they increase your accuracy, okay? And they straighten the grouping of your gel balls. What I mean by grouping is without the Hopup, you will notice that some gel balls are going to be flickering out, and when you hit your target, it's about this wide of a spread. With the Hopups, you actually tighten that spread a little bit closer, and your gels will actually travel a bit further. Now, normally without a Hopup at 20 meters, the gel ball tends to dip down in its trajectory. With the Hopup on, what the Hopup does is give a backspin to the gel ball. It's something called the Magnus effect. Now, with that backspin in the gel ball, when it gets to the 20-meter mark, you'll see it dip down, but then if you dialed it in right, you'll see it continue straight, and you'll get an extra 3 to maybe 5 meters distance on these Hopups. They're absolutely awesome. You got some that are grub screwed where you literally slip it on and grub screw it on, and then you got some like these that have a reverse thread. So they're easier to just thread on, dial it in, and off you go. Okay, that's why the Hopups are absolutely awesome to have on your blaster. It is definitely one that I would consider having it at the number 1 spot, but you'll see the reason why I've chosen this at number 2 when I show you what number 1 is. So let's check out number 1. But before then, let me give you an honorable mention on 2 items that I think you would agree with that would be useful as well. Okay, so an honorable mention would be this right here. Now, you're gonna probably say, Gilly, this isn't an attachment. Well, actually, you're wrong. What's been going on lately is people have been 3D printing an actual Picatinny attachment that you'll be able to attach underneath your blaster. So you can have it sort of like a master key. Now, this thing here holds about 120 rounds inside this little thing. Can you imagine 120 rounds splurting out in your last ditch of efforts to try to obviously win the flag or whatever? This is definitely a must-have attachment underneath your blaster, definitely. So definitely check it out, guys. But let me show you what comes in at number 1. And finally, at number 1, guys, are flashlights, especially these O-lights. Now, flashlights, they're multifunctional. Why? Because not only can you use them on your blaster, you can use them in any-day scenarios as well, okay? Flashlights are absolutely awesome to have, especially the O-light flashlights. Now, the O-light flashlights, I highly recommend. One, because you get ones like these that can easily attach to a Picatinny rail. It already has a mount on them, so you just slide them on, clip them on, and off you go. Now, these O-lights are absolutely awesome. Reason why is because the lumens are 1500 lumens, so that's pretty bright for a pistol light. But these bad boys that you can attach onto the side of your blasters as well is 3200 lumens, okay? And the distance on them are huge. The pistol ones throws about 280 meters of a beam, where the bigger boys, we're looking about 250 meters of beams, dudes. Gotta go check out these O-lights. I cannot express how much coolness these are, okay? I know that made no sense, but they are. These are bloody cool. You gotta check them out, and they look great at the end of your blasters as well. There you have it, 6 useful attachments that you can purchase, so that way you have the edge on the battlefield, guys. Now, another thing I would love to ask is if you can spare a split second to click that subscribe button, because that split second means the world to us. And also click onto the notification bell, so that way you're always notified on anything Tac Edge related or any new up and coming blasters that come out. Okay, so that way you don't miss out. And another thing is as well, follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and of course YouTube, okay guys, because I always upload exclusive content throughout all our social media platforms, and you're not going to miss out on the giveaways, are you? I hope not. Anyway, until then, guys, if you like this, please write a comment down below, and if we get, say, about 3,000 likes. If I can get 3,000 likes, I will do the 6 most useless attachments, and I might even do a little giveaway. So let's see if we can get at least 3,000 likes on this video, and we'll go from there. Anyway, this has been Gilly, guys, and as I always say, stay fresh, stay blasting, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.